Hello, 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 and welcome back to Ascension TV Online. It is such a pleasure to be here again with the beautiful Diana Savil in the house. Like, do you know what I'm hearing? Like this cheering, when they have that false cheer, like, whoa. So thank you again for coming on, Diana. Diana is going to be talking about Saint Germain, the Violet Flame Chakra, which I think is there, but no, or maybe there. You're going to be telling us about that and all the good stuff you're doing. But just to continue, we were having a chat before we pressed record, and we were just saying, whoa, the energy. So I feel like you just said Jupiter's just gone into Leo, right? I'm a Leo, and it's all about stepping out and being and sharing our gifts with the world. So here we are. This is one of the things that I do in the world. And what else is going on for you, Diana? Because it's crazy. I'm having to really like say, stop, spirit, just one thing, just the next thing, just help me focus on the next thing. But what's going on in your world, Diana, since we saw you last?
So many things, and first, thank you so much, Caroline. It's lovely to be back here with you again, with more on the Violet Flame, because there's more to share about what it's doing,
Sure.
what it's up to this year. And before we get
Fabulous.
too far, I'm going to have to just say, yes, we were just talking before we started recording about Jupiter having just moved into Leo, and the whole Jupiter being happy there, and Jupiter being all about expansion, and Leo being, a sort of our presence, our radiance, and really shining our light. And I'm so aware since we began, you've got your beautiful light beside you, physical light beside you, which is, I'm seeing it as spherical. I'm seeing it as the sun, the sun energy, which of course is all about Leo. So clearly we are here this morning, apparently talking about the violet flame, but also very much about light and illumination. And there's things I'd love to say about that a little later in our conversation. But so many things are new ideas coming in for me at the moment. And I know this is true for many of us, and which is wonderful.
Mm.
Sleep is also lacking, so the voice is a little, so much light and so much happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, for so many people at this time, um, new things are unfolding, new concepts coming into their awareness. I've done some one-to-one channelings for some lovely people recently, all of which I have to say have been absolutely amazing. And I take no credit whatsoever for that. It's the energy and the information that's come through and the resonance that they have felt with it. And
Mm.
in so many cases, it's been about this is the time to remember, reclaim,
Mm.
reconnect with
Mm.
who you have been, skills you had, wisdom that you are carrying deep within your being. And now is the time for it to come
Mm.
forward into your awareness and then be shared.
Yeah.
Clearly, this is what is happening for people, which is wonderful. And collectively, we're all rising in frequency and moving forward, despite what may be viewed externally in the world, but we are focusing on what is happening on an inner level and what is happening on a higher level, and those things are just incredible. As Saint Germain says to us in the monthly channelings that I know you love to attend, and it's wonderful to have you there. Amazing things are happening. But for our little human personas, it can be so easily overwhelming, disconcerting, discombobulating, all of those words,
Yeah.
because we are literally being asked to embody frequencies that not only we have never experienced before in the physical form,
Mm.
but no humans have ever been asked to embody. So it's not just that we're on our own individual journey and being invited to step into spaces and frequencies that we haven't previously engaged with on our own path.
Mm.
It's things are happening that have never happened before. So there is no cell memory, there is no
Yeah, there's no
soul
precedent,
memory.
is there, for it?
It's
It's new.
completely new. And
Yeah.
so I mean, our whole beings are working hard to adjust,
Mm.
but where it where we can be most aware of it or where we can find it most challenging is on the human level, where we find it difficult to stay grounded and centered and connected with the earth and to remember to eat properly and to be able to sleep, particularly at this time of year when it's so light. The light is wonderful, the light is
Oh,
glorious. Let us embrace it, but it would be nice to have time and space to draw breath, which we can find if we really, really set our heart and mind to do it. But at the same time, there's so many exciting things happening. It's like, why would you?
yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
wonderful, but challenging. I feel
Yeah.
for myself, I know, and I also know for others. That's a long, digressive answer. So yes, I am doing, as a consequence, lots of different things. New things keep coming in, new ways of presenting things. I mean, I had intended, for example, to do an online tarot course through the summer. That just wasn't happening. And 3 days before it was due to start, a whole new, completely different course just dropped in, sort of ready-made, which is happening, and not tarot. It's on the 5 Eastern elements, and that's working. Um,
Yeah.
and just yesterday, I got a whole new perspective on the course, the retreat, whatever you want to label it, I'm doing in Glastonbury in September, which is tarot. We are working with the tarot, but it's becoming less tarot focused than it was. So I'm sort of surrendering and going with the flow and all those other things that we are invited to do because I have already seen that by so doing, unexpected, additional magical things unfold that I could never have thought of and therefore never planned. So I am learning. I am learning and I am experiencing the joy of letting go of what my human mind intended. This is what I'm doing, and going, okay, clearly there's no energy with that. The energy is flowing here. Let's follow that. And it works. Like this conversation, which
Yeah.
I intended, was intended, will eventually be about the violet flame. Have we mentioned it yet? Not really.
Not
Um,
really.
but we'll get there.
Exactly that. But you know what's interesting? Because I'm seeing that this is where actually the violet flame, along with all the other flames, can really help us. Because what I was seeing as you were talking, it's like one thing is getting birthed through the next thing. And I was saying it prior to the call, when we were chatting. I have been carrying this, I've got to, like, I want to share everything I knew or intuited about the mental health and spiritual stuff. And actually, it's like the horse has bolted. Like, there's loads of people that know about it. I used to think I was the only one because in my small world, I seem to be like nobody around me could join the dots. In the spiritual world, I think everyone kind of gets that there's a whole spiritual thing. It's not new. It's not I'm the only one. It's not my flag to fly. I don't have to do it. But every time we do something, we release to the next level. And I was seeing, like, you've got what we think, and then there's like a distillation happens of like the higher vibrational reality. So what I thought my books were going to be, actually there's like a rebirth thing, because I was going to call my first book Breaking Out Bipolar, and Kutumi appeared to me in a meditation, Lord Kutumi, the Ascended Master, for those, sorry, that don't know. And I was like, okay. And I sought out a channel of him, and he said, not, no, like, drop the book, drop the name. And I was like, oh, okay. And it was because I'm here to do spiritual stuff. And if I just got stuck on bipolar, like, I don't even saying the word, I'm like, it kind of gets stuck in my throat because it's contractive, not expansive. So obviously the book that actually came out was a much higher vibration about the same project. But I think I might have even put that word once in the book, because ultimately my truth, my language was, I'm awakening, which is exactly what you're saying. We have an inspiration and we're birthing new things from our soul. And as we do so, that's where we can get a bit, because our old programming doesn't quite fit with what the new things coming in. And to me, that is a great lead to, that is one, the violet flame is one of those tools that can really help us to purify as we move through the steps, isn't it? So yeah, it's all very valid. So let's move on to that, if unless you've got anything more to
Before we
say
do,
about
can I just something that's come to me as you were
that.
saying that, which ties in with what we were saying earlier, that as we follow the energy, as we offer what calls to us, or but also where we can feel there is energy in pursuing it,
Yeah.
we move more into offering what are our own unique gifts. And this
Yes.
also is something that, another sort of collective movement of being more authentic, which has been being talked about for a long time, but is coming, I feel, much more to the fore. And although in no way am I saying don't teach things other people can teach. The teachings are available for all to share, and everyone will share it with the students who are drawn to them and who resonate with their teaching. But your books are your own unique offering, and so it is appropriate that that is what should come forward primarily through you, in the same way I'm feeling, and I'm sure many others are doing the same. I don't feel it initially, but when the energy changes and I had plans and they're not working and something else comes forward, as that later thing evolves, I come to realize that actually it is more aligned with, while I might not have recognized it's who I am, it is actually who I am. And this is one reason why those um, changes of direction, if you like, are
Mm.
more successful is perhaps the wrong word, but flow more freely and are received, whereas our original intention, which may have come from possibly, I mean, many reasons, many places, but possibly what we think we should be doing,
Yeah.
if we open to trust and allow what is calling to us, even though our head might be saying no one's going to be interested, or not the right
Mm.
thing, or even, as may be the
Yeah.
case, lots of other people are doing that. Why would you want to do that? If that's what's calling, and we trust it and follow it, and there is energy, there is a response, and it's so easy to tell with events and things that we are doing. I've found for quite a while now, either from the beginning, it just flows, it just works, the people are there when you need to contact them and the arrangements are made, or it just doesn't.
Yeah, the doors don't
And,
open.
and I used to invest energy in, I am doing
Or
this.
push the door, push the door. Yeah.
Now it's like, okay, that's not happening. I'm
That's
still
it.
open to it if it unfolds, but
Yeah. Yeah.
and then in that space,
Yeah.
other things, the right thing, if one could use that term, come along.
Oh, Diana, do you know what? There's an example that's coming to my mind so loudly. Okay. So years ago, I trained in coaching, and it's not strategy coaching only, it's energetic coaching. So I used to call it quantum shamanism because it's so powerful. The healing is so powerful. It's a container for healing, but it's practical. So and I've just been and I just can't, and in the coaching it's very niche, find your niche, and I just can't get my head around it. I've had clients ever since I started, but they're always people I know, and I'm not really advertising, and they just can't see. And that door, I'm like, I'm sure it could no, and it's because look, oh no, I'm just seeing this picture over here, look at all your other gifts. Like, I've just done a card reading course because I have trained in that before, so I could get my yeah. And guess what, when I did my first legitimate card reading, I was like, oh yeah, this is the shit. Like, and I'm just channeling, all this information. I'm like, oh yeah, like I can coach, and I know up there I believe I'm a soul guide. So to me, a lot of coaching is soul guidance, but it's not the only thing I'm here to do. And here I'm gonna do this. How about look at all the other things you could be doing? But I do know that I needed coaching because it has given me a way of going, here's what I want, and to reverse engineer. Because I, like a lot of intuitives, I have a finished vision. I get something fully downloaded, and I'm like, great, now where do I go? Obviously, you can map it out practically, but if you've got a block, this is where that coaching really works because it helps you shift where the energy is that you're going, I can't do this. So, but yeah, it's so funny, isn't it? How
Yeah, yeah, and although it's so easy to say, but the sooner we kind of, get the message and are willing to make the change, the magic
Oh,
happens. The magic
yes,
happens.
I liken it to the kinks the kinks in the hose unkink, and we can just, and of
Yeah.
course I do know, I can see why I've had a block to saying just healing, because I've had so many lives as a healer and I got killed and all the rest of it. So, obviously coaching is that safe, healing not safe. So whatever. So Diana, let's dive in with the Violet Flame. What's the first thing you want to share? What's coming?
Well, just to start from the beginning,
Great.
really, what is the violet flame? And I know we touched on this briefly in our first
Mm,
interview about Saint Germain channeling and the violet flame chakra. I'm sure would have come
yeah.
into it, but we're almost going back to the beginning in this and looking at, excuse me, what is the violet flame itself? Bear with me.
Mm,
Obviously, as we start talking about the important stuff, the throat is preparing.
mm. And I just wanted to say, it's funny, before we came in, I went and got this, and I was just thinking, well, I wonder why.
Yes, it does have that effect. The violet color or the range of violet colors do seem to bleed into many, many things. So back to the very beginning. So violet flame, what is the violet flame? It has been described as an esoteric alchemical tool that
Mm,
transmutes negative frequencies into light, which is a wonderful definition, but is still using possibly slightly fancy words that not everyone would understand. So
yeah,
I always feel in really, really simple terms, it is a power, it is an energy that
yeah.
can be called upon by anyone. And it does indeed transmute negative frequencies into light. Now, there are many, many ways of clearing negative energy. And I'm sure many, if not most, of your audience will have acquired at least one or two along the way.
Mm,
But there are very few tools that can actually change, transform
mm,
negative frequencies into something else. And obviously, we want this to be transformed, changed into something positive. And the violet flame changes negative frequencies into light. And there is this specific word, transmutes, which is
mm,
always used with regard to the violet flame because it is that specific process. Yes, it transforms, but there's something subtly different about actually transmuting. It changes. It changes in a specific way negative frequencies into light. So, whereas before you had a certain quantity of negative energy, having called in the violet flame and asked and intended that it does its work, you will then have effectively the same quantity of light, of a higher frequency energy, which is a glorious process. Um, Anyone can call on the violet flame. It's accessible to everybody. No training is needed, no teaching, no attunement, no initiation. It's there, it's available. Anyone can call on the violet flame. There's no need for fancy words. It's about intention. Um, you can say, if you wish, I now call upon the violet flame of transmutation. And then you intend or you visualize or you imagine this violet fire moving through whatever it is you want to clear the negative energy from. So this can be from your own being, this can be from another person, this can be from a space, This can be from an object. This can be from a situation. It can be whatever you want to clear.
Mm-hmm.
Call in, simply call in, draw into the space you are in, if whatever you're clearing is within your space, or into the location of whatever it is you're wanting to clear. And visualize, imagine, intend this violet fire energy burning through what is there. Obviously, no damage is done, no, there is no sense of the heat of the flames, or there's no scorching or anything. This is purely energetic. But visualize or imagine this violet fire moving through whatever it is you want to clear, and literally clearing away anything negative and replacing it with light. And
Beautiful.
it is as easy as that. And yet, as a tool, it is incredibly powerful and incredibly effective.
Yeah.
Trick always, as with all these things, is to remember to use it.
Yes, isn't
To
it just?
remember that we have access to it, and to remember in a situation that we don't have to feel weighed down by the greyness and the heaviness, or feel frustrated by something, or feel irritated. We can call in the violet flame.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the more we, like all these things also, the more we use it, the more likely we are to remember. So the more we remember, the more we use it, the more it becomes part of our way of living. And we can live in a space that is clear and full of light. Now, the violet flame is extremely powerful. It is capable of transmuting significantly heavy, dark energies. But equally, we can use it if I mean, it's worth using on a regular basis, for example, in our homes. Now, this is not suggesting that we are living in heavy negative energy, though some may be, which is our hearts go out to people who do live in such situation. But even if life is generally good, happy, free flowing, stuff happens. We have thoughts. Words are exchanged, not necessarily particularly negative, but not necessarily the highest frequency either. Call in the energy of the violet flame. Make it part of your daily routine. If used in that way, it literally need take but moments, but it keeps the frequency high. It keeps the energy clear.
Yeah.
And I
Yes.
know, and I'm sure we would have said this in our earlier conversation, I know that many of us who have experienced our Violet Flame Chakra Awakening, and I can explain something about that in a moment or two, and who have the glorious tools that come with that, including the Violet Seven-Pointed Star, which is born of the energy of the living violet flame. I know many of us place ourselves in that star every morning, so that we spend our day, we spend our time in that cleansing, transmuting energy. Just, yeah, it's so easy. Okay, the star takes a moment or two to set up, and you have to have received your awakening in order to be able to use it. But calling on the flame itself, so easy to do, so easy to do.
Sure.
And the flame has, if I may launch into the history of it, been present on the earth plane within the awareness of humanity for a long, long time. I don't know how far back its absolute origins go. Some people may have that information. I don't, either consciously or intuitively. But certainly it goes back to Atlantean times, because it was in Atlantis that the Ascended Master St Germain first encountered the flame. And since that time, he has been strongly associated with it. We're dancing about with lots of different bits of information here, but we'll bring them all together eventually. The flame is the flame of the violet ray, the seventh ray. There are, as I'm sure you know, a whole range of rays with colors, associations, masters. The violet ray, the seventh ray, is associated with vision, with magic, ceremony, initiation, transformation, alchemy.
Mm.
Hence the ability, shall we say, of the violet flame to transform, to transmute negative energy into light.
Mm.
Um, and somebody said to me in recent times, a human person, that the times we are living in, if we are able to step back and see them from the sort of slight distance, we are absolutely living in violet flame times. This is a time of massive transformation and change and alchemy and
Oh,
everything shifting.
yes.
This may well be one reason why the flame in recent months has transformed along with everything else, but also has come to us in offering a new frequency, a frequency that is appropriate for this time.
Mm-hmm.
Before
Yes.
I come to that, which I will, and I'm managing to hold the various pieces of the jigsaw here, which we'll all put together. The flame has been present since the time of Atlantis. Like all such tools, sometimes visible, sometimes having to go underground to be kept secret, sacred. Um, this is another energy that I feel is really coming forward at this time. The energy of the Knights Templar, known for many things, but we are not looking at their fighting abilities. But they were custodians of many sacred treasures. Some of them manifest in physical form, and some of them esoteric, energetic tools. They were custodians of the violet flame, and are still have a link with the flame today, which I feel will come further into greater awareness collectively soon. It just feels like this is coming forward. Um,
Oh.
the we have known, and so far when I've been speaking about the violet flame, I've been speaking about it in its aspect of a tool of transformation, a tool of transmutation, which it is, which it has been for a long time and will continue to be as long as it's needed. But the original intention for the flame was as a flame of illumination and inspiration. And Saint Germain gave us this information in a Violet Flame Chakra Awakening back in 2019, that this had always, that the original intention, the flame was originally a flame of illumination and inspiration. There came a time when a tool of transmutation was needed, when the negative energy became out of
Yeah.
balance, or the
Sure.
balance between the negative and the positive. And a tool that was able to transmute that negative energy was needed. And the flame, I do not know whether the flame stepped forward or whether it was decided, it was felt that it was appropriate. But bearing in mind, it has always been the flame of the violet ray, and this is the flame of alchemy and transformation. It makes sense that when looking for something that could transform, that would be where to go to find a tool that could be used as a tool of transmutation, changing the negative energy. So it became a tool a long time ago, tool of transmutation. But the plan had always been that in time, it would return to its purpose of a flame of illumination and inspiration. And back in 2019, which interesting is 7 years, and as the violet ray, Saint Germain, so many sevens come into that. The violet ray is the seventh ray. Saint Germain told us that the very, very beginning, the first seed of the return of the violet flame to being a tool of illumination and inspiration, that seed had been sown in that particular group, Violet Flame Chakra Awakening, that was undertaken on that day.
Yeah.
And that from that time, we should, I mean, a small number of us only, because the information hadn't spread yet, should as it were, keep in mind and start to view the flame as a tool of illumination and inspiration. Because the more that that aspect was focused on, the more it would expand and grow. And then later, I can't remember when, because there have been many Violet Flame Chakra Awakening processes that I've enabled. And I think it was within one of those again, Saint Germain said that the time had come when it was um, the illumination and inspiration aspect of the flame was significantly growing, and it was important that those who were aware of that focused on it and held that intention in their awareness to enable and to support the increase of that aspect of the flame. It is still used as a tool of transmutation. It will continue to be used in that way for as long as it was needed. We're not suddenly going to be abandoned with no transmutation tool and plenty of negativity left to change. But as we move, despite outward appearances, we are moving closer to that time when the negativity will be brought at least back into balance, if not dispersed completely. We're still in that process, still using the flame for a tool of transmutation, but also more and more becoming aware of its aspect of illumination and inspiration. And this only occurred to me when Saint Germain actually voiced this about the flame being a tool of illumination and inspiration in an Illumination Group channeling a couple of months ago, maybe a little longer than that. And it then registered with me because, as you know, he had named us the Illumination Group at our first meeting back in January last year. And he talks, as you know, a lot about light within the Illumination Group. But I had not joined the dots that by using the label illumination, that was also actually linking us to the energy of the violet flame. I mean, he, I'm sure, knew that from the beginning, but little human brain didn't,
Join
make
the
the.
dots.
So we are in these times, despite outward appearances, moving, or the aspect of the violet flame which relates to a tool of illumination and inspiration rather than transmutation. We're moving to that aspect growing until the time when that will become, shall we say, the greater part of the energy of the violet flame. But there are other changes taking place within it with regard to transmutation as we get to that point. Caroline, I'm conscious I've spoken at length. Are you desperate to add something or ask something?
I'm loving it. And what I do want to share that when you were saying about, it's really simple to use, I was like, oh yeah, it is, isn't it? I'm just going to ask to channel some into my home. And so as you were talking, I did that. And I saw it coming out of my hands and filling up, and it kind of washed over me. And I really, we were talking before the show, oh, the energy, and there's a lot to integrate. And suddenly I was like, phew. So I was sat here kind of going, I feel really sleepy and really relaxed. Because it's like, yep, it's doing its work. So I just wanted to share that. But also, I can really hear what you're saying about the shift from transmutation to inspiration and illumination. What I was seeing is, of course, because when we're muddied up, let's say, it's really hard to hear. Like I have said quite a few times, like if I'm in a certain frequency, i.e. lower, and I'm clogged up, I almost forget half of what I can do. And then a chink will happen, something will happen, I'll go, ugh, and I'll shake it all off, make a prayer. I call upon a soul alignment vortex. So one of the things I'll be teaching very soon is the angelic vortex healing. And there's a violet flame vortex. Okay, that was one of the tools in it. And of course, when you've cleared, you come back to the creator self. So that's when the inspirations come, it's like a water flow of energy coming through us, isn't it? We're a tree that grows, but when we're muddied, we're kind of all like, oh. So yeah, I'm just loving it. So I know I was in my little yummy feeling, and I was just following along and seeing how one flame has that width of and the depth of tools within it, because it works as all the healing rays do on the way that we need it, that's right for us, because it'll be hitting on what is pertinent to shift and heal and clear. So yeah, it's amazing. I love it. No, I'm loving it. I'm just taking it all in and enjoying the ride. So you carry on, Diana.
Yes, I mean, it is. I mean, we talk about the violet flame, and what I've described so far is literally seeing it as this flame which transmutes, also can illuminate and inspire. But I feel that the energy of it, although this is still the violet flame, but the energy is, should we say, greater than just a flame. The reason I say that is there are sort of three things that are sort of calling to be shared at this point. One, I'm going to have to go to first. Again, Violet Flame Chakra Awakening. If I briefly explain about that process, because I want to talk about how the flame itself comes into that.
Yeah.
Yes, you mentioned that. Yes, the Violet Flame Chakra. We when we work with it, we connect here, sort of between third eye and crown. But that's not where it is. It's somewhere in our energy field, and it's not. Certainly not one of the what we might consider the main 7 chakras that we are familiar with, connected to the physical body or moving through the physical body. It is, as is said in the description of it, a doorway, a window, a portal through which the power of the flame may be accessed and drawn upon. So it's much more a means of connecting and engaging with the energy of the violet flame in ways that you would not have been able to before you received the awakening. And just very, very briefly, I know you know this, but for members of your audience who may not, the process of awakening the violet flame chakra is something which is undertaken within either a workshop or can also be done as a one-to-one process. And there are many teachers who offer this. It came originally from the Ascended Master St Germain, but through Edwin Courtney, who shares all his wonderful teachings with those who attend his events. I've been privileged to carry on, I and many others, been privileged to carry on working with the Violet Flame Chakra, offering awakenings for many years now. It is a specific process. It's not something, as far as I'm aware, that happens spontaneously for people, though I'm sure the time will come when that does happen. As far as I'm aware, we're not there yet. It does need to be facilitated by someone who has experienced their own Violet Flame Chakra awakening. And once you have done that, you can share that awakening process with others. There's no teacher level or anything like that. Once you've received it yourself, you can pass it on. And it's a process of initiation, awakening, as the name suggests, and having made that connection with that frequency of the energy of the violet flame, you become able to create a wonderfully powerful protective space, that sacred space, which is the star that I mentioned earlier, that many of us put ourselves in every day. You also acquire some other techniques and abilities, one of which is being able to work with some high frequency healing tools that we call the rescue flames. And although we call them rescue flames and we refer to them as individual energies, we start with the 4 primary ones that work on the physical, the mental, the emotional, the spiritual level. But in truth, it is now apparent, and became apparent fairly soon after the original introduction, that there are an infinite number of rescue flames, but they are all aspects of the violet flame. This is still violet flame energy that we're working with. They're not different healing energies. They are aspects of the violet flame. They all have, each of the rescue flames has a color and a custodian or guardian and a purpose, but they're all aspects of the violet flame. So it is, shall we say, it has more, like indeed all of us do, more aspects to it than we might at first recognize. We know it as one thing, as this tool of transmutation, but actually it has many other facets, many other aspects. And then in recent times, or relatively recent times, more tools have come through, again, through Edwin, um, working with the flame in different ways, in ways that are so like specifically appropriate for our time. About 18 months ago, Saint Germain, I mean, this is all Saint Germain through Edwin, Saint Germain gave us the fearless tools, really, really simple tools to use to combat, enable us to deal with more effectively the frequency of fear, which was prevalent throughout humanity then and sadly still continues to be. And these are really simple, straightforward, easy tools that can be learnt within half an hour or so. One to curtail, to clear away any fear that we may be holding in our being, including fears we may not recognize. And this doesn't have to be, major terrors. This can be mild underlying anxiety that we may not even have noticed was there. I can remember when I first I attended Edwin's, he offered it as a whole workshop. I offer the tools as individual packages. When I attended his workshop and I used that first one, the curtailing tool, I sort of approached it thinking, well, I don't know. I've been working with the Violet Flame for a while. I don't think there's too much. I think I'm quite clear. But the morning art, I mean, I was aware of the energy at the time, absolutely. But the following morning, it was like, oh, I I do feel clearer than I did before. So, for all of us, there's still stuff in there we may not recognize.
We
And
get
it's,
used to the white noise, don't we? And then
yeah,
and when we actually go, what I can actually live without that? What? So yeah.
it's really simple to use. And again, once you know how to do it, you can teach other people how to do it. So it's, to be spread. And then another of the fearless tools, which offers us, there are many ways of protecting ourselves, but this is designed to protect specifically and to shield specifically against the frequency of fear. So that's part of the second tool, but also we acquire a means of kind of limiting or confining fear that may be projected onto us unintentionally or intentionally by outside sources. So that's another really simple, really useful tool. And then one for transmuting the frequency of fear. Now, you may say, well, surely the violet flame can do that. Yes, it can. But there is again another aspect of the flame, a specific frequency that we were introduced to that was matched, shall we say, to the frequency of fear. Obviously not matched in a negative sense, but matched so that it was able to specifically target the frequency of fear and transmute that again. Really simple to use, very effective. Once you know how to do it, you can show other people how to do it. That was one of the gifts, another sort of aspect of the flame that was introduced to us relatively recently. And then, of course, this year, as I know you know, we acquired a whole other workshop with the Violet Flame. I mean, it's the Violet Flame Apothecary.
Oh
Um,
God, that's amazing.
which within the process of the workshop, and I also am now offering this one-to-one as well for someone who wants to experience this on an individual basis. You receive an attunement to the current, the high frequency of the violet flame energy that is appropriate for us in these times. So we're still working with the violet flame. This is still the violet flame energy. This is still this amazing tool of transmutation and also illumination and inspiration. But it's the frequency that matches where we are now. And it's wonderful. It's powerful. It's uplifting. It's a beautiful frequency to engage with.
Yeah. And I just want to say the tools, because I've done this workshop, are they're just so incredible. The it's like you know, when we think of the healing rays, it can be a little bit intangible or untangible for people unless you see them and you've worked with them. And these tools are really practical. Like one is like a
And that
torch,
is
the
what you, I'm sorry,
lantern,
yes, yeah.
and you're sending, it's like a lighthouse, sending this violet flame into ourselves so we can have that illumination around a subject, or the little light worms, the glow worms of the violet flame to go and do their work somewhere. So it's they're like very human tools of how it's like dropping it down into a really easy to use way. I mean, one of the things that I've had in sessions is a bag. So sometimes I'll just know, I don't always see, I have knowing feeling seeings. And I'm like, oh, they're giving me the violet flame bag. They're like, I'm like, okay, get all that crap off here. I don't know where it is or what it is. Get it in the bag and let it go. And we just let it go. So it's a way that's very practical to use, isn't it? Because sometimes just it's a bit, well, what do you mean it's a flame? What do you do with it? Isn't it going to burn me? So yeah, so I don't know if you're going to go into those specifics, but I just wanted to say while you're having a drink, if you're interested, you're going to share to us how people can find out. And I probably will teach it at some point, but yes, no rush. So I would highly recommend it if you're like, oh, I wonder what this is. So yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, oh, thank you for that, Caroline. No, I was going to mention the tools, but it's wonderful to hear, somebody else's take on it as well. Yes, they are, and they're specifically designed to be really simple and easy to use. I mean, that Saint Germain said again. This is a Saint Germain workshop, but Saint Germain and other beings in this one, and we're introduced to a new violet flame angel. But I'm not going to give away all the treasures from the workshop or the experience. Yes, specifically made to be simple and straightforward, so that anyone without any previous understanding or awareness of what might be regarded as sort of ceremony or ritual, or anyone can kind of receive these or learn how to work with these tools, because they are made to be simple and straightforward but powerful. Now, the fact that they're simple and straightforward doesn't
Yeah.
mean they're sort of basic and not much use. They are powerful. And I also love, and I will explain where this comes from. Love, as you said, they've given you a violet flame bag. That is perfect to hear, because one of the other joys of the apothecary workshop, and the apothecary is a space that we can visit, and also an intelligence, if you like, that we can ask for things that we might need, violet flame tools that we might need. Um, and if we think of something we'd like to have, as it were, in a certain situation, as Edwin suggested, you may feel the need in a certain situation for a violet flamethrower. If there is something that you want to direct an intense burst of violet flame to, you can ask for it, and the apothecary will create it for you. And it sounds like, whether you consciously asked for it or not, Caroline, that the apothecary created this wonderful violet flame bag into which you can put things to be transmuted, which is fabulous. And one of the other magical things about this is the apothecary itself is filled with amazing and incredible tools and treasures and potions and lotions and things you can't imagine, that you can access and use, as well as the specific tools that are shared and practiced within the workshop. But you can, if somebody, for example, Caroline's bag now exists, and it may be that if someone else visits the apothecary, they may be drawn to the bag that was originally created for Caroline, but which now resides in the apothecary for use by others. So that as we sort of dream up new violet flame tools that might be useful for us, some will remain purely personal, as is appropriate, but others will become part of the range of tools available in the apothecary. I mean, it's just fascinating. And one other, there's two of them, tools that we get, enable us to work with the energy of the violet flame in a specific way to support and enable the healing of the waters. both the
Mhm.
waters in the earth and the waters within our being. And this is such a important and prevalent theme at the moment. Many people are working with the idea of cleansing and healing the waters, and the tools that are acquired in the Violet Flame Apothecary. Again, simple to use, but really effective for healing the waters of the earth, also the waters within our own being, equally important. But the waters of the earth are in need of healing, and it's a wonderful way of combining the energy of the violet flame and healing the waters of the earth. And I recently led a small retreat in Glastonbury, and we had a private visit to Chalice Well, and we carried out the most incredible and wonderful and glorious process within Chalice Well, bringing in this energy from the Violet Flame Apothecary into the water there, with the intention of that assisting in the cleansing and clearing and healing the waters of the earth. And it
Wow.
magically, through means that none of us could have foreseen, though certain factors indicated that it had been planned from on high before we knew about it. There were 7 of us present in that ceremony, which wasn't what was intended in the very beginning at all, but there were 7, which made it absolutely perfect, of course, because we're 7th ray, violet ray.
Beautiful.
Um, something else
That
I
is powerful. Just so you know, again, if you're interested in ecology and you want to help the earth, if you only to use that, it would be a very valid tool to use.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, all the tools have their own uses for different things. All the tools of the apothecary, I mean, all the violet flame tools, but all the tools of the apothecary. But yes, it is something that is greatly needed at this time. And again, it's so simple. And yes, you could say, well, if you can just call on the violet flame, as anybody can we not just call on the violet flame to cleanse the waters of the earth? Yes, you can, but it would be, it's too long and complex to go into here.
Mm.
But the process that we learn about within the violet flame apothecary experience enables us to bring a different frequency
Mhm.
of the
Yeah.
energy of the violet flame, which again is specific to healing the waters of the earth. And by simply calling on the flame and intending that it heals the waters of the earth would be a wonderful thing to do and will be perfectly effective. But working with this specific frequency
Mm.
is able to make a noticeably greater change.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
So for many reasons, I encourage anyone who is drawn to it, come and experience the
Mm.
Violet Flame Apothecary workshop. There are details on the Violet Flame Chakra website, which I'm sure Caroline will put below this.
Yeah.
Um, Sunday, the 9th of August, I'm offering it as an online workshop.
Great.
But as I say, I'm also now offering it as a one-to-one experience, and details on all of that are on the Violet Flame Chakra website.
Great.
As indeed are information on Violet Flame Chakra Awakening and the Fearless Tools and the Illumination Group and a whole range of Violet Flame stuff, um,
Beautiful.
which feels quite appropriate then, Caroline, having just mentioned Illumination Group.
Mhm.
Um,
To share about that
I
a little.
think if you're willing,
Mhm.
um, we will have just a word or two from the Ascended Master Saint Germain.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you very much.
We'll just take a moment to
Mhm.
settle into that energy. Most beloved ones, Much has been spoken here this day of the sacred flame and all its capabilities and possibilities. And as you may imagine, throughout this discourse, its energy has been present, transmuting all that is appropriate within all those hearing these words. It is a flame of power. It is a flame of strength and majesty. It is a flame which burns, no matter how many or how few may call upon it. But most beloved ones, as you walk here upon the earth plane in this time of change and transformation, imagine, blessed souls, if you were to carry consciously within your being the energy of this sacred flame, the flame that transmutes and also now illuminates and inspires, would not all that you touch be changed by this energy? Would not all the words that you speak carry greater light and inspiration? Would not your life become smoother and simpler, with tools to be used to change that which does not serve, that which can challenge at times, and that which you would do well to release and relinquish, that you may move deeper and higher into the true being that you are? Therefore, most beloved souls, I call upon you to call upon the energy of the sacred violet flame. In its simplest form, if you will, beloveds, knowing that in so doing it will transform not only your own being, but that towards which you direct its energy. But for those who are called, in however small a way, I invite also to engage more fully with the other aspects and possibilities of this powerful and magical presence. The awakening of the associated chakra within your energy field, enabling you to utilize the tools that such a process offers. Engaging with those processes which may assist you in countering the energy of fear, enabling you to walk more boldly in areas previously unwilling to enter for the depth of negativity there. Would you not arm yourselves with a suit of light, that you may walk in darkness and the light remain bright? This flame can enable such, beloveds, more gifts and tools and techniques ready to emerge in time to come. Engage with this blessed energy. Engage with those higher beings who hold its power and strength, and who, through your connecting with it in a deeper manner, will come to walk more closely and more lovingly with you. That is not to say, most beloved ones, you are not already surrounded by and held in their love, but by engaging more consciously with the frequency of the flame, you will become aware also of their presence, their guiding hand, their loving wisdom, their support upon your journey. Connect then, most blessed ones, with this sacred and glorious flame. Utilize it in whatever manner you so choose. And know that as you do so, you are moving forward upon your own unique path, but enabling others, and indeed the whole, to progress more rapidly and smoothly towards that time when this glorious flame will be, once again, only a tool of illumination and inspiration. In such light then, beloved ones, I give my blessing, my love, and my light. I am the Ascended Master St Germain, and I take my leave.
Beautiful. Thank you, Diana. Take some time coming back from that, friends who are watching. I can feel now why I was starting to feel very sleepy, because his energy was obviously really around us. I
Yes,
was
he does sneak in, but obviously this is absolutely his territory today. So
absolutely, yeah. So welcome, and you know this is a taste of what we receive in the Illumination Group, which is why I'm eagerly, like, I will go, you know, whenever I can. I will be there, Diana, because it's just such a beautiful energy. It's lovely because your presence is there, but it's imbued with that.
yes. No, I am literally just a channel. It's not about me at all. But just on that, to say now, as I know you know, that the illumination groups are now recorded. In recent times, we've been given high permission to do that. So it's wonderful to have people there sharing in the experience live, and anyone who attends receives the recording. But the recordings are now, or will be very, very soon. We've just got last tiny little wrinkle to smooth out. But the recordings of the most recent groups, and indeed groups to come, that's the first Thursday of every month. Recordings very soon are and will be made available, so people can connect with the energy, because obviously you hear Saint Germain's words, but the energy is also present in the
So
recording. So it
powerful.
is, and I've heard from those who have attended live, and then who also have, on occasions when they've not been able to attend live, only listened to the recording, and they say that the experience is essentially the same, but the energy is very much present.
Amazing, amazing. And it's funny, as I was kind of tuning in and remembering that feeling, I can so remember quite a few times during the sessions where I felt the energy, felt the clearing, the healing, and the relaxation and the wisdom, because it's so pertinent every single time, and then felt really inspired. So it's just exactly what you were saying, because I'm like, in fact, I think I remember telling you last time, you know, I started writing the application form for the Ascension TV because it'd been on my list, and it was, you know, you put it off, the human tells you, blah, blah, and suddenly it was like, just do it. So I just was doing it while I was sitting in the energy. So, you know, if you've never received or attended something like that, you'll have had a taste just then, and it is profound. So imagine sitting in that for an hour, and it is just so enlivening in so many ways. So thank you so much.
And I've also heard from people that it can be profoundly healing. I mean, any high frequency energy, it can enable healing within those present. And the Illumination Group is not primarily a healing group, as it were. That's not our focus. I mean, in a way, we have no focus. It is simply hearing, being in the energy of Saint Germain and hearing what he has to share with us. But I have heard, on several occasions. Bear in mind, we've been doing this for over a year, so this is, lots of sort of opportunities of people who, are aware that certain they felt significant in terms of physical state, physical conditions, felt significantly better having been in that energy. I mean, I cannot, I cannot sort of advertise or promote this
Sure.
as, this will heal you.
Yes. Yeah.
Because there's always the usual caveats for the person being ready and all of those things, but what I can say is that, yes, I mean, many people, as you say, inspiring and uplifting, and calming in the midst of everything we're collectively moving through. But in addition, I have heard several reports where people have experienced that they've received healing within that energy. So it's another possibility, and that's all that I can say that it is. But yes, it's and um, as anyone who takes time to sit or lie, as I do, I lie down to listen to such podcasts.
Yeah.
It takes time to sit or lie and focus on listening to this. The Illumination Group is time away from the everyday, time away from
Yeah.
all the
The
activity out
frenetic
there. So
energy.
yeah,
Yeah,
yes. And then
exactly.
again, here, this is one of the benefits of the recording, of course, that it's not limited to that 1 hour a month. You can sit and listen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true. It's funny because I was thinking, oh, well, I've had it. I probably don't need, but actually, it's so powerful that to have that energy reiterated, it's like a warm bath. I don't know, like obviously you've probably just received that now,
yes.
and I don't
My experience of it is very different from the yes, yeah,
sure. But it's like a warm bath, and it's a lot of us, it's certainly people who are practitioners and things, we have been the givers. We're wanting to help, and that is very much the light worker work. But actually it's time for us to, just to really be held and receive that pure energy and the wisdom. And of course the message from this last one was very pertinent to that, about really letting ourselves receive
yeah,
as well. So I
yeah,
was just looking then, the next one is the 6th of August. Am I right? That would be the
yeah,
first
yes.
first
That's
one. So
Thursday. Yeah.
if you want to join, honest to goodness me, it's probably the best £10 you'll probably ever spend. You'd be hard pushed to have better value than that for an hour of beautiful energy. So thank you, Diana. Thank you so, so very
And
much.
just, I mean, I know you're going to put the link, but all the information and the booking link are on the Violet Flame Chakra website. So it's all on the same page with all the other Violet Flame. The page is excitingly called something like Saint Germain and the Violet Flame. So, it's all together on the same page in the Violet Flame Chakra website.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Beautiful. So
yes.
do reach out to Diana if some of that has tickled your fancy. I highly recommend all the workshops. I've been to them all. I remember years ago, I think I said this last time as well, I was reading, about the people that used to channel the Godfreys and people in America that used to channel and have these discourses with Saint Germain, and thinking, wow, it could be so amazing to sit in that. And here I am, funny what you wish for, right? Being able to have that. Obviously, it's not in person, it's online, but to me, that energetically doesn't make
Yeah,
a
the
difference.
energy is the same. I
It's
know this too. I know from my own experience of it, but also what people say,
yeah,
that yes, the because we are in a frequency that is beyond time and space, and that if you're in a same physical space or connecting in that frequency, and sort of set aside the electronic connection, if you're connecting in that frequency, it doesn't matter, because you're not in this realm, you're just in that energy.
yeah.
So yeah, it's the same. It is perfectly effective online. Mm.
Oh, I love it. And I was just saying then, isn't it funny how, there would have been a time when people really resisted TV and radio. And I mean, in a way, I really resist AI. But for me, a lot of things that I see, it's a stepped down version of reality. So I could be what's the word I was thinking about this morning, actually, when you astral travel, when, or astrally project. And I was thinking, do I do that? And I just got this, like, oh yeah, right, I really do that, don't I? And I used to do it too much and not realize, because, and spirit showed me this, as soon as you start thinking of something, if you're not completely glued to your body, you'll start journeying there. And they really showed me, you need to come in, because
Yeah,
I would think of something and I would start tuning into an era or a place, and it was like energetically, because energy is everywhere. So
yeah.
seeing you in front of me on my screen, it's like you are here because energetically you are,
Mm,
because
mhm,
that is what the intention is, because our
mhm,
soul is, we're not confined to the
mhm.
finite what we think we are in the physical body. So yeah, I could talk about that all day. I love that's one of
Just
the projects that will come
yeah.
through. Go on.
One thing that's just come to me in that context, Saint Germain used to say to us back in the first it wasn't called it was the Ascension group then, it was pre 2012, but he used to say to us then, it was a weekly group I think we had, that we were talking about Atlantis, and he said Atlantis is not a place, it's a frequency. And we are returning to the frequency of Atlantis. I mean, he was saying it then, it's still true now. But it's people have I mean, this is opening a whole other kind of possibilities, but people have sort of studied and worked out where was Atlantis. It's an energy, it's a frequency. It's not to say it wasn't manifest upon the earth plane, but it's a frequency, and it's the frequency of Atlantis that we're reconnecting with and bringing in, and also in that regard, not only Atlantis, and I know many people are saying this is coming through many channels, and sort of many people are aware of it, that we are, as we reconnect with who we have been, as well as that, we are collectively and individually reconnecting with the energy of ancient times, ancient places. So Egypt is coming forward. Avalon, of course. And as we remember consciously those places, or we go on journeys to, we are more is happening than we realize, and we are re-engaging with the frequency of those times, and therefore all the skills and tools and knowledge that we individually and collectively had then. This is one of the many things that is, it's all, it's not just that we're going back, because it's not about going back, it's about bringing in those energies, those frequencies into the now, so that as we go forward, we are going forward individually and collectively with kind of all that we've ever been. And I'm conscious of our time, Caroline, but this is coming through quite powerfully. When I was leading our lovely little retreat in Glastonbury recently, which was not necessarily Violet Flame focused, but we were in Avalon, so stuff happened. But in different times, in different ways, within the 2 or 3 days we were there, the message was repeated that it was time, certainly for us present there, it was very relevant, but it's relevant on a wider scale as well, that it is important that we now start to recognize, sorry, there's going to be more, and I do apologize, don't blame me, this is Saint Germain's information. It's important that we recognize all that we are, all that we have been. And there was a spontaneous process we found ourselves doing in the ruins of the Abbey in Glastonbury, purely intuitively guided. That there were 4 of us engaged in this particular activity, and one part of it we went to a place within the ruins of the Abbey where there was a small altar, and one of the lovely people with us, who is very strongly and very powerfully connected to the Violet Flame and has been for many lifetimes, has held great positions of great power with regard to the flame. She had brought with her a tiny little piece of amethyst bed, which we had seen before and which looked like a shape of a flame. And she placed it, there was one indentation in this otherwise virtually smooth altar. She placed this little crystal into that indentation, and it fitted perfectly. And Saint Germain then came through and spoke to us about the key now having been placed in the lock. And this, it meant that the door could now open to, I mean, at the time he was speaking primarily to the 4 of us that were there, but it applies on greater scale. And interestingly, I just was reminded of this yesterday, so clearly it was intended to be brought through here, that the door is now open for us all to truly and deeply within our being remember, reclaim, re-access and acknowledge all that we have been and all that we are, and to bring that into who and what we are now.
Yes. Yeah.
And that feels a really powerful message, not necessarily Violet Flame related, but
It's
um,
connected though, isn't it? It's
it
all,
was it was in Glastonbury Abbey, it was St Germain, so we're on a similar track, if not the same expanded Violet Flame energy, seventh ray theme. But that just and that came through quite sort of as in this needed to be voiced here, that needed to be shared here,
yeah.
which
No,
it
I,
has
I
been.
absolutely, it's so spot on. And I keep getting the word convergence. So it's like all the
Yeah, yeah,
timelines
yeah,
we've ever
yeah.
lived. And
Yes,
it's
yes.
why it can feel crunchy. So if you're watching it and thinking, well, I'm just feeling the crappy bits, because that has to come out. Like I've spent 3 days like crying on and off and feeling really dodgy. And I know it's because I'm getting cleared, because on this weekend, I'll be teaching angelic vortex healing. It's the first time I'll be teaching it and being able to, I had it accredited this last week, and I'll be
Yeah.
doing readings. And that is me stepping really into another iteration, because I'm connecting into that seership that I've carried, that haven't been, I've been on the threshold. So, in order to live and fully embody, the crap comes up and it's transmuting. And this is why the violet flame is just such a great tool, because rather than it being crunchy and heavy and how do I get rid of this aspect, it's no, how do we transmute this aspect so we shake off the dust, is what I'm seeing, and have that shiny soul self back. So yeah, it's absolutely pertinent. That's beautiful. Absolutely lovely, Diana. Absolutely. I'm just still like in it, and I'm thinking, wow, this is great, because this I've got a lot to do today for this weekend. So I'm like, I'm just going to be cutting through, listening to that inner guidance, because ultimately that's what it's about, right? Ascension, all of it is so we're clearer channels, and then we can trust. And it's different for everybody, as we were saying right at the beginning, how our individual path will be whatever it is that we are bringing to the world, and what we need to heal, and what is good, the process for us. So thank you, Diana. Thank you so
Oh,
very much.
pleasure, pleasure, pleasure. An absolute joy to share with you again, but also to be able to
Yeah.
share this because it's also relevant to all of us. And the more of us that are aware of this and kind of living from this place, the better it is for us. We our life flows more effectively and smoothly, and we remain in a better able to cope with all the turmoil. But also, it's better for the whole. Yeah. And magic and wonderful and glorious and magical, and so many unexpected gifts that come in it. So it's not just. So I mean, yes, it is of course service to others, but it's not only that. It's like open to the magic, because the seventh ray, I may not have included this in the list of its attributes. It's the ray of magic. Saint Germain, as I'm sure in an earlier incarnation was Merlin the magician. There's magic here,
Yeah.
and
Do you know, it's funny you say that before we go. This morning I was tuning in, and I was thinking about, the call and what we're doing today, and all the things I was doing. And I was thinking, sometimes I feel like I've just lost touch. I wonder who my real guides are, because I know we all have many, and we have many for different reasons. And I got Helios coming in, and I am a Leo, and Helios is like
yeah, the whole sun energy at the
best,
moment. Yeah,
Bestos. And I was thinking, it never occurred to me. I mean, in astrology, people talk, oh, your ruling planet, as though it's a body, but people don't always realize that there is a spirit. Like we have Mother Earth, Sophia Gaia, maybe, however, she likes to be seen. But I believe, that there were Helios and Vestax, which is the twin kind of flame gods and goddesses of the sun. And I was like, oh, hi then. That's why at times in my life, I have seriously had many times where the clouds have parted, and there's this, like, when
yeah,
you're saying that pertinent thing and you're like, oh, yeah, okay, I'm listening now. Oh, okay. And Merlin. And I remember going on a journey with Merlin when I came back from Portugal, and journeying to the tour, beneath the tour, and it was all the elementals were there, and it was like this homecoming of elementals and elves and all these beautiful beautiful magical beings. So yeah, thank you for that. And I was like, have I got that wrong? Merlin, St Germain. So thank you for confirming that. Yeah.
The connection. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, there's so much more to share. So
I
Diana,
know. I know.
thank you, and I'm sure you will come again and share with us a little bit more along the way. So do have a look at all the offerings. I might write them separately so people can really get a feel for what you're offering. And if you want to sign up, honestly, it's money well spent. Investing in yourself at this time is absolutely perfect because, you know, get all the tools, get all the medicine that you can, and to help you on your way.
And as I've said, and I know this isn't for everyone, but it will be relevant to many, that with all of that, with the Violet Flame Chakra Awakening and all the fearless tools and the apothecary workshop or experience, even if you do it just as a one-to-one, once you've experienced it, you can pass it on.
Yep.
So for the teachers out there, or the people thinking they're not quite ready to teach, you know, it's I mean, yes, it's for you, and yes, you will benefit greatly
Yes.
from it, but it's also something you can offer to others, you know, among your range of things that you offer. And for example, with the rescue flames, if you're already working one-to-one with clients, particularly if it's either a hand body work of some kind or healing energy, or even in readings and things, you
Yeah,
can bring in the rescue flames as well.
they are
So
brilliant.
it's sort of it's a way of.
It's multifaceted, isn't it?
Yes, completely. Completely.
Yes.
Perfect term, but that of course applies to the flame itself.
Yes.
Yes, so
Yes.
absolutely, yes.
Okay, Diana, I am going to bring us to a close because actually I could just sit in this energy for a long time and we could talk about all sorts of things. And to me, that is very much of the Atlantis. It's like we're bringing through all the teachings and stepping into that part of us. So, but join us again on Ascension TV online and keep an eye out. I'm going to be a little bit ad hoc over the summer because I'm concentrating on moving and I'm doing a lot of healing. I've got some books to finish as well. So just keep an eye out, but there's a lot of other episodes. There's 2 previous episodes with Diana if you liked what you've received today. So do check out the rest of the episodes and sign up, subscribe, and keep an eye on Diana because she's going to be launching soon. So well done for that and good luck with all the ventures, Diana. Thank you, everybody. Bless your hearts. Thank you, St Germain, and take care.
Thank you
We'll
very
see
much.
you next time on Ascension TV.